Hi everyone, Elsie Jensen here. Today we are going to make a Polish sausage cabbage soup with some roast beef melts and banana donuts, since we've got a couple bananas that need to be used. So let's start getting our soup base prepped and ready. I'm going to turn on my Dutch oven here to about a 6, and then we are going to put in a few slices of bacon. I'm going to cut them up and we're going to saute them because this soup is like, growing up, it's kind of like a cabbage roll. If you've never had a cabbage roll before, it's like ground beef and rice mixed, like rolled up in a cabbage. And it was always covered in bacon growing up as a kid. It was something my grandmother used to make, and they were Polish, so they were called babaki. And this is kind of a hybrid, but instead of using ground beef, we're going to be using Polish sausage. So it's just kind of like a delicious Polish sausage soup, I guess. But it's kind of a hybrid with cabbage rolls as well. So we're going to start up by sauteing up some bacon, because bacon just will add a really richness to the tomato kind of broth that we're going to be using for this soup, because cabbage rolls are cooked in a tomato sauce. So it's kind of like a deconstructed version with just a slightly different protein. So we've got our bacon. I just used 3 slices. You don't need much because bacon goes a long way. The flavor really stretches. So I'm going to wash my hands real quickly. There we go. And then I'm going to chop up an onion. So we're going to use 1 yellow onion, and we're going to kind of do a kind of a small dice on it. And we're going to put that in there with the bacon. I'm just going to peel off this whole outer part because it's no bueno for cooking. It's really chewy. And so I always say it's just easier if you just cut it off and then just go with a nice fleshy inside. I'm going to do about 4 slices across, and then we're just going to kind of square it off into kind of a smaller dice because you don't want huge onion chunks in your soup. There we go. And I'm going to put this in my pan with the bacon and a little bit of olive oil because the bacon doesn't have quite enough fat to cover the bottom of my pan. So about, I want to say 2 teaspoons of olive oil for our Polish soup. Let's put our onions in here. And there. And I'm just going to get a spoon out so we can give it a nice stir. And we're going to let these saute as we prep the batter for our banana donuts. Okay. So I've got it mixed up. Try to get all those onions covered with the olive oil. And now we're going to prep our batter. So I have my donut maker warming up. If you don't have a donut maker at home, but you do have a donut tray, you just want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And we're going to start by mashing up our bananas. You want 3 pretty ripe bananas, preferably really dark. That's when they're the sweetest, but these ones are pretty good as well. I'm going to give them a little smush inside before I peel them. This just kind of makes it a little bit easier to mash them up. And then we're just going to kind of squeeze all of that banana-y goop out. And this is a great way to use up some of your really ripe bananas. That isn't just banana bread. I mean, banana bread is great. Banana muffins are great, but my kids absolutely love these banana donuts. It's just a fun way to do them a little different. So we've got 3 big bananas. You could do 4 small ones. In here, let me throw our peels away. And then I'm going to just take my spoon, it's a little spatula, and we're going to smash everything. Now, you could use a hand mixer for this if you want, but it doesn't need, like, bananas are so soft and easy to work with that you don't really need it. So we're going to smash this up until you've got a nice kind of paste forming. And the trick is to try to smash the bananas into it so that you don't have any super huge chunks. You want it more evenly, not a super chunky. And when we're going to add a cup of brown sugar in just a second, and that is going to make it turn into more of a banana slush after that. Okay, So we've got them pretty good mashed here. I'm going to give a nice little stir real quick. And then I'm going to turn my Dutch oven, I can tell, has warmed up some. So I'm going to turn it down to about a 4 now. Now we are going to add in 1 cup of brown sugar. So this is a ½ cup, so I'm going to do 2 of them. I like to use this ½ cup in here because it is easier to press it down firmly than a big cup. So we're going to do 2 of these. So 1 and 2. And you want to pressure a brown sugar down firmly, or just add about a 1/4 cup more if you don't want to do the pressing. But with brown sugar, it is more likely to lay fluffy and so that's why you can pack it down so that you make sure you get all of the sweetness. And now we are just going to mush the banana and the brown sugar together. And it's gonna cause the bananas to sweat even more, and it's gonna turn a little bit more liquidy. And we're just gonna keep smushing them until we have a nice kind of batter. And then we'll add in our butter and our eggs next. So I always like to start with the wet and then add the dry. Just mixes in a little bit easier versus dry than wet. Okay, so we've got these nice and mashed up. Perfect. Now we're going to add in 5 tablespoons of melted butter. And I use salted butter because I think salted butter is the bomb. You know, the worst thing ever is when you go to put butter on your toast and you realize it's unsalted butter. It's like got no flavor. So salted butter is where it's at. We're going to mix this up. And then we're going to add in 2 eggs. So we've got our 2. So 1. And this one shattered on me. Let's see, there we go. Whew, managed to get without any shells. We've got a little eggy here. So we got our 2 eggs in here for our banana donuts. And then we are going to mix in our baking powder and our salt. Last thing we're going to add in here is the flour because it is hard to mix things in equally once you do the flour. You want to make sure your eggs are mixed in well. There we go. Just smashing some of these bigger banana chunks against the side because, again, you want them to get nice and small. And now we're going to add in baking powder. We're going to do 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Make sure it's baking powder, not baking soda. If you do baking soda, your muffin or your cupcake or donuts will have a slightly bitter taste and they will be really puffy. So 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then we're going to do 1 teaspoon of salt. We're going to give this a nice stir, and then I'm going to stir. I'm going to do some double stirring here. There we go. I always say it takes a hot minute for our onions to caramelize, but that's why it's perfect to make some cupcakes, but you definitely want to do it because it's going to bring out the rich flavors in the soup. Okay, we're going to mix this up. I want to make sure my baking powder gets completely mixed up into it. And that is what's going to use, it's going to be the rising agent. It's going to work with the eggs to make our donuts nice and fluffy. Okay. There we go. And now our last ingredient we're going to add is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. You want to use all-purpose, not bread flour and not self-rising, just the good old-fashioned all-purpose. There we go. So we've got our 2 cups of flour. Just going to slide these guys out of the way. We're going to mix them in, and then we can start on our first batch of donuts. So there we go. We're going to give it a nice stir. We're just going to kind of mix it around until it's completely incorporated. Just try not to over mix it too much. A nice lumpier dough is better for a softer donut. I think there's a lot of misconceptions with baking that people want to make their batter really smooth. And for some things, yes, you do. But for most of it, a nice lumpy one will give you a really soft, fluffy donut or cake or cupcake or muffin. Okay, so you just want to make sure we've got all of the flour mixed in. So, but you see how we've got a nice kind of lumpy donut batter. And this is exactly what we want. Perfect. So I've got my donut thing all heated up. I'm going to get some, here we go, some cooking spray. Here, and we're just going to give it a spray down real quick. You don't need much because there is a lot of butter in the donut batter, but I always just like it to make sure they come out nice and smooth. And then I'm going to just use a spoon, and we're going to scoop some of our banana donut batter into each one. You don't want to overfill it or they will kind of ooze out the side. So typically 1 spoonful is all you need. There we go. And this makes about 20 donuts. Mini donuts. So these are not big donuts. They are mini donuts. There we go. I'm going to put my donut makers down, and they take about 2 to 3 minutes to cook. So while those are cooking, let's get our soup going. We've got a lovely caramelization on our onions now. You can see they're starting to turn nice golden brown. And then our bacon is also cooking up. So we are going to add in some Polish sausage. So this is already pre-cooked Polish sausage. My stepfather is a great lover of Polish sausage. His family was Polish, and so he actually gets this every year for his birthday. My brothers and sisters, we all put in and have like, I want to say 20 or 30 sticks of Polish sausage shipped down for his birthday because he absolutely loved it, from Minnesota, from Minneapolis, where he's from. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to just slice this up. When I'm slicing like a Polish sausage or something like that, I like to do kind of a sideways slice. Makes it look a little bit more nice and bougie. We're just going to toss these in there.
You have a question? What's the name of that donut maker?
That is a Sunbeam donut maker. I believe I got it at Walmart like 20 years ago. Maybe I think a freshman or sophomore in college. And I picked that up, and it has lasted me, and we probably use it, I want to say, at least once a month. But it has been in there. It's been kicking along forever. So I'm going to slice up. When I do, this is kind of a smoked sausage, I kind of toss those ends that are twisted together because they're just not as nice. Give this a nice stir. And then let's get this guy all sliced up over here. If you've never had Polish sausage before, it also goes by another name called kielbasa, but it's like a smoked sausage. It's really delicious. It's really flavorful. It's not like Italian sausage or anything like that. It's got a whole different flavor and almost texture, I would say, as well. But they are lovely. There we go. I'm going to get this all sliced up. We're going to add them in here, and now we're going to just start prepping our onions. And again, that sausage is already pre-cooked. So really we're not cooking it to be cooked all the way through, but more for its flavor and whatnot. So I've got our Polish sausage cooking up, and now we're going to chop up some celery. I've got about, I want to say 5 or 6 full stalks here. And we're just going to cut off the ends. If you are using the full long ones, keep the leaves. Keep these celery leaves in there because they add a lovely flavor. It's a bit more delicate, but they kind of really blend well into the broth. So we're just going to take off these ends because these were pre-cut and they tend to dry out and get a little bit chewy and they're not quite as nice. And I'm just going to go slice down the middle because these are some pretty big ones. And we don't want to have a huge chunk of celery in our soup. There we go. And then we're going to just do a simple slice on these, make nice little smaller pieces of celery. And this is going to add a really lovely flavor to our broth. There we go. Perfect. Toss these in. And then we're going to check on those donuts in just a second, see if they need a bit more time or not. The first ones typically take a little bit longer than the rest because it takes a while for the griddle to heat up, but they don't take long, which is a nice thing to do. You can really whip out a batch of donuts pretty quickly. And I feel like they taste a bit better than when you bake them. So let me get a plate for our donuts when we're moving them out and a fork, because I find the best way to take them out is with a fork. Let's see. Oh, perfect. See how they've got this nice golden brown color on them? Excellent. So what I do is I'm just going to pop them out with my fork and a finger. You could do it with just a fork. They are hot, but I always say everyone says that my fingers don't feel heat at all. Do a nice little spray again. And we're going to make our put our next batch in so they can cook up. Nice thing about this batter is it is pretty thick, so it's really easy to kind of push scoops in, and it's thick because it uses butter. Now, if you don't want to use butter, you can always switch it out for oil, like a coconut oil would be great with it. But I do find that butter just gives baked goods a nicer, richer flavor. So I typically use it in all of my baked goods. Now we've got our bananas donuts right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take some room temperature butter, and you're just going to rub it over the top of each one. And then we're going to sprinkle some cinnamon sugar over it. And that kind of gives it a nice cinnamon sugar banana donut, and they're delicious.
Do you have a question about the recipe for the batter?
Yes. So we will post this video afterwards, which will have it. But I do believe we have this recipe card also posted on the link in our page, so you can reference that as well. So I'm pretty sure I definitely know it's up there. So we'll just have to look through it and through our recipe cards to find it, but it is posted. So here's our first batch of banana donuts. They are delicious. Okay, let's get working on finishing up our soup. We're going to chop up these carrots real quick. Just got a handful of baby carrots. Now, these are already peeled and washed, so you can chop them up and put them in. But if you were using full carrots, just give them a quick peel first and then maybe quarter or like halve them so they're not super thick. There we go. So we're going to chop these up. We're going to toss them in. I know there's this soup is based on a little bit of like a cabbage roll. And there's like two ways you can make cabbage rolls. There's the one with the beef and the rice. And then there's ones where you wrap up carrots in there. And so this is kind of a hybrid where you have both the carrots and we're not doing beef, but we're doing Polish sausage instead. There we go. Get these chopped up. Perfect. Give this a nice little stir. Beautiful. And now let's do some seasonings in there so they can start cooking up nicely. I've got some tomato paste here. This is going to help build a really rich tomato broth. So I'm going to use we're going to do about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. I'm going to get this off, and I'm going to just stir this in there really quick because I want it to kind of cook up and get a little nice and rich before we add some more liquid in. There we go. Kind of coat everything. Beautiful. And now we are going to add in some oregano, about a teaspoon of dried oregano. Just going to shake it around. And a bay leaf. I'll do two bay leaves, and I'm going to crush them up. That way we can get the release of flavor a lot faster. If you have time to stew it longer, you can leave it whole. But I find if you crush it up, it gets so small that you don't notice it at all because it's about the same as some of the other harder spices in there. So just give it a nice crush with your fingers. It will crush up pretty nicely.
You have a question, is this for lunch?
This is for lunch today. And then we're going to add in about 1.5 teaspoons of paprika. This is going to also give it, with the tomatoes, it's going to give it a nice rich red color in our broth. And a little bit of garlic salt. Nice little shake. It's about 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon. And then the same with some black pepper. Give it a nice little shake over. It's probably going to be about 1/2 teaspoon. And now we're going to stir this up nicely. Get all of those spices mixed around and kind of heating up. I always have a few that jump overboard. Okay, another piece. There we go. There, lovely. Now we are going to add in a can of diced tomatoes. If you wanted to use fresh tomatoes, it would be about 4 fresh tomatoes sliced up, 3 to 4. So put it in there with all of your juice. Give it a nice stir. Beautiful. And then we are going to add in a little bit of water and a big scoop of chicken bouillon to make our broth. We're going to add cabbage in just a little bit, but the cabbage, I like to go in towards the end once we have a boil up with this.
You have a question about your apron. Where did you get it?
This is from IKEA. We were up in Memphis not too long ago, or IKEA. I'm never sure. Okay. In Sweden, it is called IKEA. In America, it is called IKEA. But it's that big Swedish store where you have to assemble everything yourself in case you're not familiar with it. I got it there for $5. It was a steal. So, and I love it. It's so like fun. I always love it when you get a good deal. So I know, tangent, but let's stir this in there and let me give a big heaping spoon. I don't have much of my chicken bouillon, so I'm just going to use the rest. So I'm just going to use this spoon since we're scooping it out anyways. So chicken bouillon, you could use chicken broth instead of water, but again, I just love chicken bouillon. It gives me more flavor, nice, richer. Scoop it all out. And then we're going to check on our banana donuts, our next batch, because those should be just about done. There we go. Perfect. We're going to let that simmer now. And when we come back, we're going to add some cabbage. Okay, let's see how batch number 2 is. Beautiful. We're going to take them out. And these are like they're not a yeast donut, so they're more like a cake donut. So they're just like your old-fashioned cake donuts with a lovely banana flavor to them. Do a nice little spray. And then we're going to scoop it out. Fill up our next round. And then I will say, I love my little donut maker. I do use it a lot, and I think they just turn out a bit. They're more moist than if you bake them in the oven on a donut tray. So that is because they kind of like steam cook up really fast. But these are always a hit. My kids eat these. Like this batch of donuts will be gone in like a day. Because we'll pack them in their lunches. They'll have them when they come home from school tonight. They'll eat them for breakfast, and then they're just gone. There we go. Get those cooking. And while these are nice and hot, we're going to take our room temperature butter. We're going to just put a little bit over the top. And this is just to have for the cinnamon sugar to stick on them. And then I have my cinnamon sugar mixed in here because we are a lover of cinnamon sugar toast. So I always have it. But it is just like a 1/3 cup of sugar with, a tablespoon or so of cinnamon mixed together. Okay. Let me wash this finger. Get our soup going. And then we got to start on our grilled cheeses So I'm going to chop up my cabbage here to put in our soup. And you want to just kind of chop it up pretty small because you don't want to have any huge leaves of cabbage because otherwise it'll be kind of hard to eat. So I'm going to start out. Let's see how this goes. We're going to give it a couple of chops through. And then we're going to put it in our pot and let it start cooking. Perfect. There. So we've got it all kind of chopped up nicely. And there. Yeah, there we go. We're going to stir this up. And I'm trying to make sure all of our cabbage goes underneath our kind of our tomato broth here. There we go. Perfect. And now we're going to let it come to a simmer. And while that is, we are going to make our grilled cheeses to kind of go up. So we're just going to move this out of the way just a little bit. I've got my skillet right here. And I've got this. Oh, hey, teddy bear. Can you turn off the the bunny? You want to bring it here? My little 3-year-old just woke up from nap, so he's playing a little song right now. But here. Hey, do you want to help me cook? You're bored. Do you want to help me cook, or you woke up from nap? Okay. Hey, bud. You're bored. Okay. Why don't you grab your kitchen thing and you can help me cook? You want to help me make some sandwiches? Okay, so let's get our bread cut. We have our basil bread. This is the one we made the other day. There we go. So we've got 2 slices of this, and now we're going to do our sourdough, and then we'll have Chef Teddy over here to help us cook up some sandwiches, right? He's bringing over, we have a kitchen tower, which is great for little helpers. Yeah, you can climb up here and help Mama. Okay, we're going to make our grilled cheeses, okay?
Yeah.
You going to have some grilled cheese with us?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to cut the bread first. So we're going to cut our slices. This is our homemade sourdough bread. Perfect.
What's that?
What's that? Banana donuts, you see? Don't you love it? We're going to spread a little bit of butter on each side of, on one side of each one. Butter, I know you love butter, don't you?
Yeah.
And we're going to slide right here. Perfect. And we'll do that. Yes, we got to do this. And then we're going to check on our banana donuts, see if they're ready. I think they still need a few more, a little bit, but want to take a peek at them? Let's see how they're looking. I think they need a little bit longer. Just a little bit. About a little bit longer. And then you can help me sprinkle cinnamon sugar over them. Okay, let's build up our sandwiches. We're going to do pepper jack and roast beef and Edam and roast beef. I'm going to turn up my soup over here. You love soup. You gonna help? You gonna have some soup with me? Okay, we're using pepper jack cheese.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a nice layer of pepper jack on the bottom for this one. You see the batter?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna steal a little bite?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have a bite. He's my official taste tester here. Is that good stuff? I would say everything we make in our kitchen is what we eat. We don't make anything for show. There we go. So I'm putting Edam on mine. And then we're going to use a little bit of roast beef. And we're going to do a thin layer of roast beef on it. And then once we get this roast beef on, we are going to get our donuts out because we will be ready for the next thing. So,
you have a question about the cheese slicer, where you got it?
That one, it actually, it's Swedish, I believe. There are words on it. I'm pretty sure my mom got it for me when she was in Sweden. It is, I will say, it is a great one. It's called Ukerkass, but it is not an American cheese slicer. And I don't think all of my cheese slicers that I love are either Swedish or German because I just think they know how to slice a good cheese there. We've got a nice thin layer of roast beef, and let's look at our perfect. Now we've got that nice rich golden color. We're going to pop these out with our things, and I'm just going to stack them on top of the other one. I'm going to kind of make a nice little tower here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be yummy, yummy, yummy.
Yeah, love that.
We're going to do a quick spray. And this is our last batch of donut batter going in. There we go. So I will say this makes about 20 donuts, which is a good amount. Now, and I will say that is every time. I've never really makes more than 20. Let's cut. Let's get all of this scraped up. You don't want a single one to go to waste.
Yeah, me eat.
Yes, you like to eat the donuts up. I know. Let's get this. Perfect. My spatula right here. And then we're going to just scoop that in there. Perfect. And the back of it. This will be a little bit smaller, but that's okay. We're going to close it up. I'm going to give my hands a quick wash, and then we're going to do butter and cinnamon on that one. Yeah, butter and cinnamon. You going to help me spray this or shake the cinnamon on it?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my room temperature butter. We're going to bring it right here. Perfect. And here. Can you sprinkle cinnamon on it, buddy? You shake it on there for Mama? There you go. Good job. Perfect. So, excellent. Okay, let's finish up our sandwiches. We're going to put a little bit more Edam on the top of this one.
That's peel.
Yeah, it's cheese. Do you want a slice?
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. I'm going to put this was my fresh basil and pesto bread. And then for the other one, we're going to do another layer of pepper jack cheese. We just don't want our cheese to overflow our bread. So just break it up so there. Otherwise, it will melt down and kind of burn on your skillet. There we go. Tuck a little of that in. I've got mine cooking up to at a 6 right now. We'll be ready to flip in just a second. Was that good cheese, Teddy? Mm-hmm. Let's stir our soup. Tuck it all down in there. Perfect. Beautiful. Let me get a nice, let's see, we're going to taste it. See if we need to add any more to it. It's going to be a little bit hot, so I can't give you a taste yet. Okay, Teddy? Delicious. It is almost done. You just got to wait for those to get nice and tender. So I'm tucking all of that cabbage underneath because we want that broth to be really flavorful.
You have a question? Is this a normal day lunch for you?
Yeah, we make our like a soup and a sandwich every day for a month. During the summer, we kind of change it up and we'll do salads or slightly different things. But yes, and this is for about 4 to 5 people, kind of we're serving. So we'll cut the sandwiches in half, and then we have our soup, and we send it over to my parents for them as well. I'm going to chop up our fresh herbs. This is green onions and some fresh parsley. There we go. So we're going to use almost all of them. I'm going to put my brighter bits of the green onions in. I'm going to not use my stalks, but we're going to put these in right now. Yeah. Here we go. You want to take a peek at them, see what they look like? So they still need, this is about halfway done, so they still need about a minute or so more.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold on to you because I got to get my special spatula out. Okay, buddy? And now we're going to do our first flip. Perfect. You ready? Chugga, 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 choo, choo.
Yeah.
So we're going to flip our grilled cheeses over. The first one, we're just melting the butter and warming up the bread. And then the next round is kind of crisping up and getting that delicious one. Let's turn our soup down to nice and low, about a 4. Yeah. You like it? You want one? You can have one. You want it in a bowl? Okay, go get me a bowl. I'll put one in there for you. Okay, so we have our green onions we're putting in our soup. And then we're going to chop up our fresh parsley. You're going to go get yourself a bowl? Okay, sounds like a plan. So we're going to pull off the leaves. You don't want to use the stems in there because they'll be chewy and not great. There we go. And I'm using, this is going to be about 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley. And we're going to mince it up nicely. And then we're going to, do you find it? Which bowl do you want? Oh, do you want this one? Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you shut those cabinets? He wants a snack bowl.
Yeah.
See, I will say they're toddler approved. Here you go, buddy. There you go. Okay, we're going to mince up our parsley, and then we're going to add it in as well. You want to go back up there? Okay. So we're going to mince these up nicely. And then we're going to throw them in because our soup is just about ready. Perfect. Right there. You can put it right there. Excellent. So we've got our fresh parsley in there and our green onions. We're just going to let them simmer on the top, and we'll stir them in just a second. We're going to see, are they perfect? We're going to give our grilled cheeses a quick flip. And now is the time where we're really crisping up the bread. Okay, let's look at ours. Beautiful. So you see right here, what didn't get as golden because it didn't touch the rest. That one was our one that was slightly smaller, but not a big deal. We're going to pop these out real quick. These are hot, buddy. Yes. And then we're going to cover them with a little bit of butter and some cinnamon sugar. So you got room temperature butter. And you only need about, it's only going to go through about a tablespoon of butter for all of them. Perfect. And then we're going to go over with our cinnamon sugar, which, oh no. What happened? Is it empty?
Yeah,
It's empty. So all you're going to do is mix cinnamon and sugar together, which will take us like 2 seconds. I always say we keep these going because they are just, we use it all the time. My kids love it on toast. So we got about half of it with sugar. Yeah, you want to eat the sugar? Yeah, you like sugar, don't you? And then we're going to put our cinnamon in there. Let's flip our grilled cheeses because they are almost done. Beautiful. We've got a nice crispy edge. I'm going to turn it down just a second. Give it a little stir. And because you got to make sure you put your cinnamon sugar on while your donuts are hot. So, no more sugar. Okay. And then we're going to shake a little bit of it on. Perfect. And this is going to give us our delicious cinnamon sugar donuts. Perfect. Okay, let's get a bowl and a plate out because we are almost ready for lunch. Yeah, lunch. Are you excited?
Yeah.
You want some soup with Mama? Okay. Let's turn off our skillet over here. We're going to bring over our delicious, this was the Edam and roast beef. And now we're going to stir all of these herbs into our soup. And then the last thing that we're going to do with our soup, and I always add it at the very end, we're going to put a little bit of cream, just a splash. And this is just going to give you a nice, richer, creamier tomato bath. About 1/4 cup. You don't need much, but a little goes a long way. And it just gives you a richer broth. Okay, let me get my ladle and we are going to serve it up. Ready, buddy? Okay, ready? Go back to your donut. Okay, so this is our Polish sausage soup with cabbage, carrots, and celery. So delicious with a like velvety tomato broth. Okay, so today we made our roast beef and Edam melts on our sourdough bread that was made with basil and pesto. And then we have with it a Polish sausage cabbage soup, which is like reminiscent of a cabbage roll. And of course, we made our delicious banana donuts, which Teddy Bear over there is enjoying already. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us here today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We try to do live cooking shows every single day, show you what we're feeding our family. Again, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe.